Hey there everyone, Leprechaun here. Today, we're going to go over the new update for Conan Exiles. It's going to be Update 22. Right, well, let's just get started right off the bat. First off, the big thing they're doing is they're wiping all of the official servers, as well as all of the inventories in the players, and all of the junk. You guys get to keep your levels though, so for those of you guys who've worked hard and made it up to level 50, well, good for you guys, you're going to be able to keep that. Right. Also added in that is going to be a free respec of all of your feats, as well as your recipes, because they've also changed some of the leveling cost for some of the stuff here in the recipes. Right, and then also, they've also added a new ruin system. Now what that's going to do is, whenever you've got structures that have not been used in a while, or have not been around players that created them, they will eventually begin essentially a decay countdown timer. And this is going to be turned on all of the official servers. However, if it's a private server, you have the ability to turn it on, but it is not turned on by default. And you can also change how quickly it decays the structures as well. So essentially they're making, they're cleaning things up. I know a lot of you guys know those official servers have been full of a lot of crap and a lot of junk from players who've played and then quit. So it was definitely needed. Right. Now my favorite thing that they've added is the dye system. Okay? So first things first, before we even get into the dye, obviously it's all about the color and changing that. Well, it's not just walk up to berries, squish them and throw them on your armor or anything like that. So I'm just going to walk you through it real quick, so you guys know how to use the dye system. So we're going to walk up to our blacksmith's bench, and right here is going to be the glass flask mold. And that is going to be one of the recipes you're going to be learning earlier on. So it's one of the earlier things that you're going to learn, so don't worry about not being able to learn the glass flask mold. Right, it just takes 15 iron bars, and it is not used up. You can use them as many times as you want because they never break. And then you're going to want to put them on your furnace, right? And then what you're going to need as a raw material is you're going to need crystal. And you're going to melt the crystal down in the furnace here, which will turn it into glass. And every 3 glass is used in the mold to make 1 glass flask, right? Okay, so now that we've got glass flasks made, from the crystal and then to the glass and to the actual flask itself, we need to fill up the glass flasks with water. The best way to do that is to just stick it on your quick slot, hop on over to a water source, which in this case will be this nice little oasis down here, and we'll just stare at the water real nicely and just tap the 8 button a bunch and that'll fill up our water now. So now that we've got filled up water containers, we're going to head over to a fireball cauldron, and we're going to put the water-filled glass flask up in here, and we're going to mix it with some different colors that we've got. In this case, we've got true indigo. Now, you guys are going to have to look at the Wikipedia for all of the different colors, because there's quite a bit, and all the different places that you can get them. The main ones are white, for bone. You mix the white with that, and then you've also got the indigo for blue, and then you've got the Cochrane from the cactus is red, and then you have orange from underwater plants. So, there's a bunch of different colors that you can get. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and make some white. So we've got bone, and we've got water-filled glass. And then also what we've got to do is turn it on, and down here we can see light dye colorant being made. Alright? So there we go. I'll go ahead and turn that off. Alright, now a little bit difficult to do is, took me a little while to figure it out, but here's how to actually apply the dye to what you're wanting to apply it to. So we'll take our chest piece, and over here in the more section, we'll click on that, and right next to drop, we'll have dye. Right, so it says no dye available in inventory. Nonsense, I've got dye. Let's try that again. What? Why is it not saying that I cannot dye that? I've obviously got dye right here. Let's try dropping it and picking it up. Sometimes this game is really glitchy. Uh-oh. And it just lost all my dye. Right. Well, since we just lost all the dye, I'll just take you through the way that you die. Alright, so up here in your corner, you're going to have the dies that you can select from that you've created. And all what you got to do is click on the die, and whatever spot you have highlighted will apply that die to that specific spot. Now, if you don't want that, and you don't like it, click original color, and it'll revert it all back, that particular piece, to the original color that it was, and it won't use the die. The only time it uses the die is once you're done. If you hit the save button, then it's all gone. So make sure you have your armor the way you want it before you click save, because that finishes all bets, and all bets are off as far as losing your hard-earned die. Because at this point, die is fairly easy to make, but if you don't have easy access to crystal, it can be pretty tough. So that's just some stuff to know. Right, the next biggest thing, which they've needed to add for a long time, is they've added a bunch new weapons. They've added 8 new weapons. Particularly my favorite, the Ancient Warhammer. I've actually got one right here. Very, very nice piece of equipment. Does insane damage, and it just ignores body armor. Must have for sure. Very, almost as good as the Kopesh, I'd have to say. And then we've also got some knives and some maces, and that about wraps it up for the newer weapons, as well as some a heavy crossbow as well is some of the newer weapons. So they've added quite a bit of new content in this update. It's fantastic. Much needed. Definitely much needed. Right. Well, after the weapons, the next thing they've also added is mostly fixes from here on. But I just wanted to go over those main things first of all. Alright. So obviously my blacksmith thrall, you know, the animation's working properly. You don't have to access the blacksmith's bench for her to be working properly. And they all just load in the way they should be, and they're actually doing stuff rather than just kind of dancing in front of their workstation. So I like the way that they've got that all proper. And then also, in this new update, as far as the encumbrance goes, here's your encumbrance. If you click on the level up button, it shows your encumbrance. You also have a movement penalty now, and it's much more accurate than it used to be. So you've got to keep that in mind. How weighed down you are is going to affect how quickly you run now, because it used to be not that way. Right. After that, they've also got the arrows in the placeholder bin, like for boxes and such. They've changed the graphic for the arrow when you're placing it down. It's not too much of a big change, but it's a nice little graphics change. Little polishing, things like that. That's always nice to know. And then also a actually big thing for combat that I actually think that in the process of adding this feature, they've kind of broken the combat a little bit with the creatures. Case in point, the rhino. Whenever you attack it, when it rotates around itself, it will actually push you away now. And the same is with all of the other larger NPC creatures that you're going to be fighting, like dragons and such. I'll try to show you guys real quick. Here we got a rhino. You'll notice whenever I attack it, when it turns around, it'll actually push me away. Like that. It'll just give me like a shoving motion. Now that's not the actual rhino hitting me, it's just the rotation of it pushing me away. Which really sucks, because in many cases it can actually throw you like that. It threw me quite far away. It doesn't give you any damage, but it can really throw you off if you're trying to land your hits just right. So that's a little bit of a pain in the butt. But not too big of a deal, I suppose. They're definitely going to have to fix that, at least I would hope, because it's not right throwing you back that far like that when you're attacking a rhino. Okay, now, onto this section of the update video. We're going to go over the exploit fixes. You guys who've been, you know, using those little glitches for your advantages, some of those have been cut down. The first thing they've cut down is you can no longer place structures in mountains. Whenever you could crouch or glitch in somehow, they don't allow that anymore. There's definitely a contact patch where you can't get in there. So there's no more of that. Sorry, guys. Also, for those of you guys who know of the infamous armor duplication, whenever you find a dead body, you can no longer, unconscious, you can no longer duplicate armor off your unconscious allies. So no more of that. And then also, I'm sure some of you guys have come across holes in the map where you could actually fall through and go to different areas of the map, which is no longer allowed. I'm sure there's still a couple areas that they haven't fixed properly. I've had it happen to me once over in the corrupted city, but ever since then I've not had that problem. So hopefully you guys don't have to have that problem, because I actually had to kill myself and it really sucked, because I lost a lot of awesome gear. But it is an alpha, you know, a lot of new stuff. Right on to the next thing. This section is going to be devoted to mainly server settings and multiplayer things that affect those particular aspects, right? So they've added the ability to modify how quickly your thrall is created. So that's all going to be in your server settings. We'll just go here and show you guys real quick. It's all out and about and available. So you've got your thrall wake up time, obviously. Then of course all your damage multipliers, and then further down beyond that you're going to have your thrall crafting time multiplier, which is how long it takes for the thralls to obviously turn over to your side. And then they've also added the ability up here at the top to who can access your containers. So if you've got a free server that you just want anybody to access your containers, you can change that right here at no ownership, or containers ignore ownership. Easy to do, not hard to see at all. And honestly, all that you got to do is head up over to the server settings part of your settings, and you'll be able to see all of these new things plain as day, as well as all of the new time restrict ads, as well as damage as well. And then of course they've also added the ability to modify NPC health, NPC damage, you know, important stuff that really adds dynamics to the actual server. And then also my personal favorite, which is it changes how quickly your fuel will burn down. So if you've got a bunch of wood or a bunch of coal, you can change how all that works. I know it sounds like boring stuff, but it's really important stuff like this that helps the people that don't have hours and hours to spend on this game to actually have a fun time. So thank you, developers, much appreciated. Right, and then for you guys who is the server admins, you know, the boss has a big plans. They've added this message of a day, which you can now have pop on every time somebody hops onto your server. It's the first thing that'll pop up, just so that way they can get a quick, hey, this is what's going on. This is maybe server rules, or maybe this is what we need to get done today. It's really important stuff like that that helps cohesiveness of your clan to work properly. Right, and then also clan members can no longer take damage to armor when friendly fire multiplier is turned to 0. Previously, yes, your character didn't take damage, but it used to be that your armor would actually take damage, even if the multiplier was set to 0. And then also the last few things are the last clan member to lead the clan gets ownership of all the buildings, and that's actually important because, you know, if you're the last guy to lead the clan, you want to have all the stuff because you're probably the leader in the first place, so it should only be fair that you get all the stuff. So little stuff like that has been added, and it's really been polishing the game. A lot of you guys love to hear your feedback on some of the stuff that they've added, what you guys think about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Much appreciated, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button, and hey, if you liked it, subscribe. I hope you guys have yourselves a good night. Cheers.